So the video where I share my opinion on all PBS Kids shows got popular. So I decided to follow it up with sharing my opinion on all Noggin/Nick Jr. shows. Warning, some of these will be pretty unpopular. But as always, if you have different opinions than mine, that's fine. Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments. Anyways, let's begin. 64 Zoo Lane. I never watched this show, so I have no opinion. Abby Hatcher. From what I've seen, this show doesn't seem interesting to me. Allegra's Window. This show is really cute. I like that it has some elements similar to Sesame Street, and the show being entirely revolved around music is a nice idea. Allegra has a cute voice and she seems very lovable. All the other characters are good as well. I think this show would work well today considering the popularity of Sesame Street, Baby Shark's Big Show. You know what, I don't need to say much. Why? Freaking why? Why would you give Baby Shark a TV show? I detest this show. We're moving on. Becca's Bunch. Never watched it. Ben and Holly's Little Kingdom. Not interested and never watched it, but I don't think I would like it from what I've seen. Bill Nye the Science Guy. This show is awesome. I used to love it when we got to watch this in science class. It made the class more exciting. Bill Nye is a great host and the overall feel of the show is superb. This show is just one of those that is a classic. Blaze and the Monster Machines. I don't know what to say about this show. The feel of the show is okay, and the education value is really good, but everything else is bland. Blue's Clues. Now, this is a masterpiece. I mean, literally everyone in today's community grew up with this show, and loved this show. Steve was probably the best preschool host in modern times, and he knew directly how to talk to the audience. And Blue is also a really cute dog, and all the other characters make the house such a fun place to visit. Joe wasn't even that bad, but Steve will always have a special place in my heart. I used to have a red chair and sit in it to think. The songs are really nice too. My favorites are Play Blue's Clues and the Mailtime song. And did anyone see Steve's message last year? It was so heartwarming. To sum up, this is probably my favorite show on this list. And it's easy to see why. Blue's Clues and You. Everything I previously said applies, and Blue in 3D actually works. Josh is also a great host, and I love the idea of him being Steve and Joe's cousin. It's wonderful that a new generation of kids is able to grow up by playing Blue's Clues. And also, one more thing. The Thanksgiving Day Parade last year, and the song You Can't Spell Blue Without You. I freaking love it. Blue's Room. Sadly, this doesn't have the same appeal as its original inspiration. Blue has a nice voice, but everything else is just bad. Bubble Guppies. I think this is probably the best show on the modern Nick Jr. block. The characters each have their own personalities and are all likable. And the educational values in this show are great, one of the best I've seen for a Nick Jr. show. The only thing I don't really like about this show is the story segment, but I could see how kids would like them. Not to mention the songs. This show has some really good songs, and the voice actors can actually sing. The only song I hate is the theme song. It's probably the worst theme song I've heard, which is such a shame considering this show has some really great tunes. This would be a great recommendation from me if you're thinking about it. Butterbean's Cafe. This show is alright. I've only seen several clips of it, but it's okay from what I've seen. I like Butterbean as a character, but I don't really have an opinion on anything else. It looks great for kids though. Connie the Cow. Never watched it, so no thoughts. Corn and Peg. I haven't watched this show, but from what I've seen, it's bad. Deer Squad. Same as the previous one. Dino Dan. I feel like this show tries too hard to be cool. That's all I can really think of. Dora the Explorer. This is the one you were waiting for. And I do slightly dislike this show, but not hate it to the point I treat it like it's worse than Hitler. Dora is nice as a character and a reasonable role model, but the way she speaks is super irritating. I don't know why all the characters talk like that. The fourth wall breaking is also my biggest complaint. It happens way too much, to the point where it just gets annoying. Not to mention Dora never seems to let the viewer finish. So my final opinion? I don't hate this show, just slightly dislike it. And I'm not going to say anything on the grounded videos out of Dora and Friends Into the City. The same as the previous, but Dora is slightly more tolerable in this one. I also feel like this one has more context and character development than its predecessor. I don't know if the animation is an improvement though. Unlike its predecessor, the characters actually speak in a reasonable tone, which automatically makes it slightly better. I don't like this show, but don't hate it either. Eureka's Castle. Haven't seen that much of this show, but it looks fine. Obviously being the first show on the Nick Jr. block boosts it a bit. Face. This is a great mascot. He was very welcoming and fun. It really is a shame that they got rid of him early on. Face's Music Party. The idea is okay, but unfortunately, it doesn't have the same appeal that the original Face did. Feed Face. I didn't grow up with this mascot, but I've seen many clips on YouTube. It was a good mascot, for a start. Franklin. I didn't watch much of this show growing up, but it looks fine. I like how it's more realistic compared to other preschool shows. Franklin and Friends. Same as the previous one, except I don't think this looks as good as the original. Fresh Beat Band of Spies. Never got interested and I've always disliked this show. It's just kinda, there. Go Diego Go. I think this show is slightly better than Dora, just because the overall vibe is cooler and more exciting. That isn't to say I like it though, because I don't. The theme song is not bad, but Diego's tone of voice is so annoying, just like Dora's. That's all to say about this show. Gullah Gullah Island. I haven't watched enough of this show to form an opinion, but from what I've seen, it looks fine. Binya Binya looks a bit creepy to me, but the overall vibe is nice. I wonder how this show managed to stay on the air for such a long time though. Hey Dougie. It's alright. I don't really have much to say about this show, Jack's Big Music Show. This show was cool. It demonstrated music very well, and I could have seen myself really getting into this show. Now, the only question that remains is, how many classes does Jack freaking take? Julius Jr. No. Pass. Never liked it, never will. Kipper. This show looks good, even though I haven't watched it that much. It just looks good from some clips I've seen. Kyu Harajuku. No. Definitely no. I don't need to explain much. La La Loopsy. Now, I have no problem with shows aimed for girls, but I just never got interested in this show. I'm not sexist, but it's just kinda bland. And I'm not a fan of the toys either. Lazy Town. This show was so cool and creative. It was great at teaching kids to get up and moving. Even the villain was a great character, and it's a shame he died. Robbie Rotten will always be number one. Also, the sports candy. The way they named fruit that is genius. Little Bear. I like how realistic it is, but I never got into this show. Little Bill. I do not think it's a rip-off to Caillou, but honestly, Little Bill's voice is kind of annoying. I could see how some people like it though, but I don't. Little Charmers. Same as La La Loopsy. Maggie and the Ferocious Beast. I haven't seen enough of this show. It just looks forgettable from what I've seen. Maisie. Same as the previous one, but Maisie's voice is pretty cute. Max and Ruby. I actually didn't watch much of this show growing up, but it's good. Even if Ruby can be a bit bossy sometimes. But I do agree with everyone about the later seasons sucking. I would stick to the earlier seasons. Miffy. It's alright. Don't really know what to say. Mike the Knight. No. I hate this show. Not because it's a rip-off to Treefoot Tom, because it isn't. I just have always hated this show. Ms. Spider Sunny Patch Friends. It's not the best, but not the worst either. I like the idea and overall feel of the show, but that's about it. Moose and Z. Now, this is more like it. I miss these guys so much, words cannot explain. Moose was an absolutely perfect host that was super entertaining. The puzzle time segments are the absolute most nostalgic to me. Why did they get rid of them? Why? Just why? I don't hate Smart Place to Play and all, but come on, they could have stayed on for just a tad longer. I really don't need to say anything else, other than, it's a fantastic day, everywhere I go. Mutt and stuff. I am a dog person, and the idea of this show is great, but I don't think it executes well. Stuff is just straight up terrifying. Nella the Princess Knight. I'm not going to hate it for being gender demographic, but I just kinda forget that this show exists. A Princess Knight is a badass idea and all, but I never watched a bit of it. Ni Hao Kai Lan. This show was nice. I like how emotional this show is. And by that meaning how well it teaches kids to cope with emotions. The characters are overall pretty likable, and this show has many memorable moments, like Ho Ho hitting Ren 2. I also like how it introduces Chinese culture, even if it's minor. And the fact that this show has only 42 episodes, and they're all on Internet Archive, would make this show feasible to review in its entirety. Oabi. Great show. Very simple in concept and execution, but it works perfectly. I salute the team for how they were able to pull this gimmick off. And it also teaches good lessons, such as, different good. Sure, the fourth wall breaking is kind of constant, but it's fine. Olivia. This show was nice. Olivia was a very great and relatable character. I like her great imagination and the way she plays pretend. It's also realistic in the mindset of a child, and that's good for a kid show. Oswald. I actually didn't watch this show as a kid, but it's really nice. I like the gentle feeling of the show, and also how realistic it is. The theme song is one of the calmest I've ever heard for a TV show. The animation isn't that good, but it's the early 2000s, so it's fine. Overall, a great show that I wish I watched. Paw Patrol. Nickelodeon, stop praising this show like it's your god. They have seriously gone way too far with the treating of this show. Come on, it isn't that good. The theme song is catchy, but everything else isn't good. Because of Nickelodeon's constant spamming of this show like crazy since 2014, I hate it. It's way too overrated. And it's time to stop. Peppa Pig. Okay, don't get mad when I say this. I actually like this show. Not for educational purposes, but for meme purposes. What I like about the show is how wrong and cruel it is. It does teach bad morals, but when you watch it when you're older, it's funny. The animation is the blandest I've ever seen though. But the memes, and the edits, they make the show a kajillion times better. My favorite moment is when Peppa hangs up due to whistling. Lol. Sorry if this is controversial. Please handle my opinion. Peter Rabbit. I never understood the point of this show. It's just kinda, there, the fur on your head show. I haven't seen enough to critique this show. Pinky Dinky Doo. This was a good show, but only in the first season. The stories were creative, and the great big fancy word gag was actually both funny and annoying at the same time. The animation style is also really unique, and in the first season, I actually didn't mind the game time segments. But season 2 sucked. There were way too many bathroom jokes, and while the animation does look improved, it's just not my cup of tea. Play With Me Sesame. An excellent spin-off to Sesame Street. I remember watching this show on Sprout, and it was a wonderful new gimmick. Ernie and Bert absolutely steal this show, with both their classic segment intervals and the Ernie Says games. Nothing against Prairie Dawn and Grover though. Pocoyo. I used to watch this show, but now I hate it. The voices are pretty annoying, and unlike other shows, I hate it when the kids chime in. Good for memes, stale on its own. Ricky Zoom. No. Never interested. Rubberdubbers. I hate this show. Both the animation and the voices don't appeal to me. Rusty Rivets. Nice and fluid animation, but I just never was interested. Ryan's Mystery Playdate. Why? Why would you give this Shibuya TV show? In my opinion, it just feels like a waste of time. Santiago of the Seas. Nice approach to inclusion and representation. But overall, I'm just not interested. Shimmer and Shine. I don't hate this show because it's overly feminine. That's no reason to hate a TV show. It just isn't my cup of tea. I don't like both the 2D and 3D animation styles. The theme song is about the only thing I like, mainly because I haven't watched much. Sunny Day. I'm actually starting to get into this show. It is pretty over-the-top feminine, but Sunny, rocks, and Blair are great girls. Sunny is a great leader, and Doodle is a nice and loyal dog. I do like it when girls show off their style, whether it's with hair or dresses. So I feel like with a bit more time watching, this could be a good show. Team Umizoomi. I used to really like this show, but looking back, it's a bit stale to be honest. Simply, it's the animation. The mix with live action is really cool, but the overall feel of the animation just feels kind of bland nowadays. The educational value is great and all, and I like the characters. I actually didn't get the meaning behind Millie and Geo's names until a few years ago. Still, I have lost interest on this show recently, and it's becoming less popular nowadays on the channel. Teletubbies. Alright, this one is a love-hate relationship. You know how you get into something, then lose interest in it, then get back into it? That's how I feel about this show. I appreciate it for the impact it has made, and their recent appearance on Britain's Got Talent was really wholesome. However, it is annoying at times. So my opinion as of now? Probably neutral. This goes for both the classic and 2015 reboot. Not that excited about the 2022 reboot, The Adventures of Paddington. No pun intended, but it's not my cup of tea. The Backyardigans. Yes. This show is art. I think it's one of the best animated preschool shows ever made. The animation is very fluid, the music is great, the characters represent imaginative kids perfectly, and I think it appeals to both kids and adults. This is further shown as Castaways and Into the Thick of It were trending. I really wish they brought this show back. I also wish we could find the Me and My Friends pilot from 1998, since I'm really curious about that. The Fresh Beat Band. I feel like these guys have recently gotten lots of hate. Come on, they're not that bad. The format is pretty repetitive, but honestly, their songs make up for it. They may be some of the best songs I've heard in a preschool show. My favorites are Here We Go, Just Like a Rock Star, Reach for the Sky, We're Unstoppable, and Get Up and Go Go. The Tiny Chef Show. No thoughts. But I don't like it from first impressions. The Upside Down Show. Oh. My. God. This show was my entire freaking childhood. And looking back on it, it feels more like a comedy for all than a children's show. The interactive remote gimmick is cool, and Shane and David are absolutely hilarious. Puppet is as well. I don't really care for the other characters though. I used to watch this show all the time. And I'm really grateful that the entire series has been uploaded to YouTube. Plus, this show works great for play-alongs. My favorite moments are Utter Chaos and the Akabalakanak Tickety Talk. I like the idea of the show, and it's executed well, but I'm not interested in this show. Tiny Planets. No. This show is just creepy and disturbing. I hate how Bing and Bong look. I feel like the idea of this show would work better as a half-hour series rather than a series of shorts. With that, it just felt kind of pointless. Toot and Puddle. I never watched this show, but I absolutely love geography and learning about the diverse cultures of the world. So if I was into that at the time, I bet I would really like it. But I wasn't. Top Wing. I just never liked this show. That's it. Tweenies. Sorry to all fans of this show, but I don't like this show. I'm not a big fan of the characters' voices and the style of the costumes. And above all, it's a bit too intense for me. I know that kids love to play, but still. Wally Kazam. This show is alright. There should be a show that addresses just English topics as they're important for kids, as much as I hate English. Wally's voice is tolerable, and Norville is cute. Even the villain, Bob Goblin, is tolerable. But overall, it's average at most. Wonder Pets. Okay, this show was my first childhood addiction. No joke, I used to watch this show religiously, and even freaked out over getting a Flyboat toy for my 5th birthday. But looking back, the animation style is very impressive. But I feel like there's a bit too much music. I don't have a problem with music in kid shows, but I feel like this one takes it a bit too far. Still, it's cute, and I could see both kids and adults enjoying it. My favorite moment is when Ming Ming says, "This is Shuas, wow wow wubsy." Alright, I may be the only one that didn't watch this show as a kid. So, because of that, I just find it okay. But I could see the appeal of it. Yo Gabba Gabba. Come on guys. This show isn't that bad. It's just the right amount of chaotic for kids. I say that because I taped this show every single time it aired and watched it. I feel like the songs make for good memes, even the Don't Bite Your Friends song, as much as I hate it. The I Love Bugs rap is definitely my favorite. It's really well done. DJ Lance Rock actually is a great host, and I'm honestly surprised that he's still in this state. And also, I might have had a crush on Fufa when I was little. One final note. Recently, I've seen videos of the live concerts, and they are spectacular. Like a rock concert for little kids, and I love it. Once again, please handle my opinion, because I know the show has gotten a lot of hate. Zack and Quack. The pop-up gimmick is cool and original, but overall, kind of forgettable.